think we have members previously of Sandskriti as well, and this time we have new members as well. And as I was explaining that Sandskriti is now going global, so we have audiences from Africa, we'll have audience from US as well, and we'll have audience from Pan India. So मैं एक बार सबको describe कर देता हूँ what Sandskriti is doing and what Sandskriti is all about, so that people have a greater idea. All right, so Sandskriti, we started Sandskriti about 1.5 years, 2 years back, and our main goal is to elevate the status of design in India. क्योंकि अभी भी design is typically known as a tech hub, but then we want to establish it as a design hub क्योंकि India में अभी भी designers को when we explain it to our parents, we know that it is kind of hard. So हम लोग वो चीज चाह रहे हैं कि लोग सब मिलके एक बार as a community we thrive and we respect each other within that. और information sharing बनी रहे, and that is why we do events regularly, which includes the workshop, which includes the events which we do, and overall now we are coming up with the designathon. So the designathon is going to be the world's largest offline event, which is going to take place in January, specifically on the 25th of January. उसके लिए I have this little slide. I'll just show you the cities on which it is happening. So these are the cities which is going to happen, and this is also going to be showcased globally. So यहाँ पे लोग, people can participate. All kinds of designers are welcome. We have designers as students. We have the college students as well. And also we have design professionals who want to elevate their status. So यहाँ पे this competition, I think, is going to be very much helpful in order for the people to understand कि design को हम लोग किस level पे ले जाना चाह रहे हैं. And also, be able to test their skills overall. So yeah, this is something which you're planning, and this is going to happen. And I encourage everyone to just register with us for this quickly so that you'll be a part of this. We'll just drop the link for the registration as well. And if you could quickly scan the QR code, I'll be showing this at the end of the workshop as well. But then, yeah, so this is something which we are coming up with, and we are very proud of this. And I would encourage everyone to participate within this. And you can also check out our site, which is sandskriti.com. So you'll get all the information regarding the designathon. And also, I think Rahul also knows this. We have the passport or a concept. So the passport is also going global. And that will kind of be your gateway for entering all the events throughout the design industry from now on, because we're also coming up with an application. So this is something which I quickly wanted to brief everyone about. But yeah, I think enough about Sandskriti, and let's start with Rahul. So hi Rahul, how are you doing overall? All set? All fine?
Hey Nabrun, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of us, and yeah, hosting the workshop. I think काफी excited है लोग, क्योंकि जैसा मैंने बोला topic काफी अच्छा है इस बार, right? Because people want to know कि हाँ designer तो बढ़िया है, but then how to be a successful one. And I think आपके पास काफी pointers होंगे wherein you'll be able to tell people that okay, apart from designing, we can also be good at all the other things, because as a designer we want to be holistic, right? So इसके लिए if you can just share like a quick brief of what the workshop is going to be about, and then we can start with that.
Cool. I'll just correct one thing though.
Yeah, sure.
Be successful doesn't mean you have to be money specific. Like as a designer, you can be successful in different ways. But yeah, this workshop is about money, like how to make most money. I'm a Gujarati in Ahmedabad, born and brought up, so cash is important. And coming from a lower middle class, cash was an easier way to get up that cycle of classes in the industry, right? So definitely it is an important part of it. And I just call myself a commercial designer, and that a lot of time hurts a lot of purist designers who are like, this is an art, you should focus on this and that. And I just say, I'll tell more about how I did get into this industry in the workshop. By the way, Hindi is fine. Do I need to just continue? I don't know the audience kahan se, like, so there's a lot of audience, so I would keep it in English. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we can primarily start with English because you also have international audience. But then, beech mein I think Hindi it won't hurt. So
perfect. Yeah, we'll talk more about it, but you'll also see why this commercial part has an impact on my life and why I choose to talk about it a lot more now, and where did this come from also. So yeah, that's it. That's the workshop is going to be about. More details of the workshop, I would say you stay for the workshop, go through it, you'll get more idea. And yeah, that's it.
Done. All right. So yeah, I'll just quickly brief the audience about how we can, interact with him as well. So of course, here you can ask your questions. It is open. No need to be shy here. You can open your cameras. You can ask your questions. You can raise your hands, and we'll get the questions to him. So we'll try to keep the whole workshop interactive. तो बीच में जैसे ही questions आएंगे, we'll tell you Rahul, and then we can definitely take those questions in the middle. Everyone, if you'll be kind enough to kind of have your questions in the Q&A section. Otherwise, आप chat में भी डाल दीजिएगा. We'll just forward those questions in the Q&A and we'll ask when the time comes. Okay. I hope everyone is cool with it. Okay, I'm not sure if thumbs up आता है कि नहीं इसमें बस raise hand. Anything works just to make sure that okay everyone understood. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Then. All right, so yeah, I think we can start with the workshop. And also, Rahul, if you can just brief us about Dacoit.design. Because I personally went through your website and it's very very quirky. It's very insightful. So just tell us about that as well. How did you come up with it? Specifically the name, because वो काफी enticing है. People don't really open up that much in terms of being informal and being connecting with the people, right? So आप वो भी बताइएगा. And yeah, I think we can start. All right.
Sure. I am not sure how many of you know me from Twitter, but if you know me from Twitter or Instagram, you would know that while I'm brought up in Ahmedabad, but I'm born in Chambal, in MP, right? Which is notoriously is famous for Dakus and Dacoits. And if you've watched recent Dacoit movies like 𝘁𝗵𝗀𝗀 and everything, you'll understand that the way Dakus have been presented in Bollywood or Indian history, they were not people who were bad. They had to do that because they were going against the system. They started with that, and obviously the power corrupted them at later stage, and we'll try to stay away from that part. But the core concept was they were rebellions. They were rebels who stand against the system, who break down rules and made their own rules. So that's right. And being from Chambal, when I wanted to do this design, I work in Web3, in blockchain, where tech people have a lot of dominance. You can say most people are their developers, users, and audience, or even people who are working there. So being a designer there and being a brand designer, how do I stand out in a product-focused industry? So that's why I just gave this the name Dacoit. And the agency's work is also that focus that we don't just do sorry to everyone, but linear based UIs kit wala. We try to do more brand focus, like your brand personality, which you have spent cash on, which you have worked months, made a brand strategy. You want to sign that just not through your landing page, but also through your product. Like there's a reason why we talk a lot more about cred, why we talk a lot more about certain specific apps in outside of India, not inside of India. We don't have that many to talk about, but they have their certain UX pattern. They have their certain brand languages. They have their certain colors, fonts, right? You don't even need their logo to know that, okay, you are in this app. You'll just know it by using their UI, right? And now a lot of new landing pages, a lot of new products are just looking same. Right? So that's where we wanted to be the rebel on that case, and that's how we came up with Dacoit design. Interesting fact, Dacoit doesn't have a Hindi meaning. So Dacoit doesn't mean Dacat. It's an English word, which use people. So there are a lot of words which we picked up from English and made it our own. Right. So it just pronunciation is different. Right. So for example, you just call train station, right? Like train doesn't. You don't have a Hindi word. Like we have a Hindi word, but people won't use it in regular language, right? Dacoit is a word like that. So when people are saying Dacoit, it's like that. When like Hindi people are reading it, they are reading it Dacat. Cause DACOIT. So they're reading it like that. So there's no Hindi meaning. So it was also international in that way. That while we are being like local, and you know where I am from, but you also know that this is not just Indian thing. It's an international one also.
Done. Perfect. Thank you for that. I think we all require that in order to need to know that. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'll just go and share my screen. But before that, I think let's just make sure that everyone is awake. I know it's after lunchtime, so I'm assuming a lot of people would have had their lunch and would be sleepy. So if you're here, just do one thing. Just drop a GM in the chat.
Perfect.
Just write
Guys,
GM.
Please.
I'll start as soon as I see 10 GMs. Okay, count 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. Oh, I think we have matched the base one. Now we can just start. Everyone's awake, so that's good. I just need 10 people to be awake and here, right? I'm just doing. This is a workshop thing. You will have 200 people, but most of the time you're just doing that for those 10 people who came here for an answer. So if you came here for an answer, please free to ask questions, and I'll try to be as helpful as possible.
Done. All right.
I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
And you should be able to see my screen now.
Yes, we're able to.
Just a second. Let me adjust the screen a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should be able to see my screen now. Is this fine? View wise,
Yeah,
everyone's
it's
good?
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right.
Cool. The topic is already discussed about. You all are aware of the topic was going to be. Now, I'm guilty of one thing. I did make this very controversial. I could have talked to like name this topic, how to make the most money as a designer, or how
Mm.
to get more money as a designer. But the reason I kept it as how to become the richest designer is controversial, and also we should not be ashamed of money.
Mm.
Especially
Right.
as Indians, we are trained to not talk about money that much. We are trained to not like show our money. We are trained to not like hide what we're doing. You'll notice that a lot of Indian YouTubers, Indian people who are creating contents, I'm also a content creator. You'll
Mm.
notice that they don't talk about money that much. And
Right.
you'll in similar cases you'll see a lot of US people telling what they're making, how they're pricing their agencies, how they're pricing their projects, right? So this one,
Mm.
I want to make sure that you talk about this. This is
Right.
important, very much important, is that because we are like losing the battle right now. As like we have the same level of talent, we have the same level of professionalism, and I think more hunger and fire than anyone else in the world. I think Indians like killing that scene. But
Mm.
we are getting behind because we are not talking about money. We are getting paid in exposure. We are getting paid less. We are paid in pennies because we are afraid to ask for more money. Right? And so I
Mm.
hope after this topic ends, you're
Mm.
confident in your skills. You're confident in your skills of asking for money and the value of your work. You should
Right.
not be afraid of one. And this topic is going to cover that. And I will start with a little bit of
Yeah.
m- my intro.
Yeah.
I'm Rahul Bhadoriya. That's the one I had done my SEO to. So if you want to Google me, use this surname. That's how you're going to find me. But I also run Dacoit Design as shared by Sandskriti. And now what we'll do is, before I get into this, right? The question is, okay, Sandskriti did a workshop. You joined, you came here, you're like just in this. But why you should listen to me, right? Like a lot of people just get a mic and camera and do podcast, right? Doesn't mean you gotta listen to all of them, right? You need
Mm.
to have
Very true.
credibility, right? And the question is why you should listen to me. Like, who am I? This is me. So all the pointers are there. I'm just gonna go one by one.
Yeah.
These are
Sure.
just on top. I'm gonna explain more about it. I'm 29 years old, so very on the older side of design. I've started from Photoshop,
Mm.
Corel Draw. I went to Figma, Affinity, and now using Framer and other feature designing tools, right? Like Webflow and everything. So I have seen all the whole spectrum, right? Using AI based tools also. So I came from the like zero to Photoshop to this, right?
Mm.
So I've seen all that. I used to lead in my brand and marketing design at one of the top companies in blockchain called Polygon.
Mm.
If any of you, my friends, are from blockchain, you would know that. If not, no worries. And it's also I also work with IBM, Adobe as my freelancing career in the last 10 years. I've been doing this for the last 10 years, and we'll talk more about my journey in detail. So you'll also get
Right.
context of where does my thought process come from. This is an important topic, by the way. You should always keep in mind that the people you're listening to, most of the time when they're giving you advice, they're just telling you what they feel. Doesn't mean that it's
Mm.
true or right, right? So here in this case also,
Mm.
I'm telling you what I feel. I'm telling you what I know,
Mm.
and being as adults, being as mature people, you will take the decision on which way you want to go, right? So we'll just go
True.
in that direction. I
True.
used to run a design agency. It was a different concept. We won't get much into it. Currently, I run Dacoit Design, right, as shared before. I've been running that for the last 1 year now. We
Mm.
scaled up from being two co-founders to now having a team of 12 people working with international clients. The team is from 10 different cities. Like we have people from Chennai, Mumbai. We also have one person from Lagos. We
Okay.
have people from Bangalore. We have people from Banaras somewhere. So we have tons of good people. I'm from Ahmedabad. So we are remote
Mm.
first. There's no physical office. We are just doing this online altogether.
Perfect.
Other than that, I'm also a design mentor. I used to be a mentor, internet designer, BX designer. You might have heard about it, another cohort. I came from brand design. I started with brand design in 2014. So I still focus on brand experience design, as I shared before, that now I do mix it with product, but I still, the concept is with brand. I'm also a builder. I have built my own products. I have built more than 8+ products in Web 2 and Web 3. So Web 2 is normal without blockchain, and Web 3 is with blockchain. So a lot of products I have launched on Product Hunt. They have gone days number one of the day, and a lot of, like, I've been part of the Twitter circle for the last 4 years. So then a lot of experiment. And this point, the product building also will come later in the workshop, and you'll know why it's important. And then, yeah, I'm also part of few groups here and there. And I run a YouTube channel also called Rahul Bhadoriya, and I create simple blog, explain few design concept here and there. I generally do most of them in Hindi. Try to simplify it. As I said, I come from Chambil, a lower middle class. I'm a Hindi medium kid, right? So I have a little bias on that sort of things, and that's why I go a lot more in Hindi and simpler language. Now that we have the context of why you should listen to me, I hope I had some credibility there. But let's break down my working years. This is what I have done, and I have given you just the cream of the cake, right? Just on the top, from the top. But what did I do for the last 10 years to get this information? And this will also tell you about how did I acquire this information. So this is my career trajectory. I'm not including anything less than 6 months. I am a guy with ADHD. I do a lot of random shit. So there's a lot of things. If I didn't install that, I just gonna show you from top, right? So I started with the IT company. I used to work in a way, they were a developers company. I used to work with them, printing and all that. After that, I joined an agency in Ahmedabad. It was a typical advertisement agency where I worked 4 years. Then after that, COVID hit. I joined a web agency in Delhi. Did that for a year. Joined Twitter. From there, joined the product company Polygon. Did that. Got laid off from there. Freelance for a whole year. And last September, I started this agency called Dacoit Design, and I've been agency founder for the last 1 year. Perfect. Now, this is, I also did some Upwork work, as you can see, on those 4 years of agency, just some freelancing. And by the way, I've been freelancing for the whole 10 years. Never I have ever stopped freelancing or doing other projects. And that is also about money. Obviously, I wanted to make more money, but it also gave me leverage. I could go to my founder or my boss and say, hey, I need this much salary. And they could say, yeah, we can give you. If they say we can't give you, I can always go out and do freelancing. I already had a backup. I had leverage. I could always talk about that. So this is it. Now, this is what I did in years. Now let's try to go a little bit more in detail. And I have not shared this before, but this is for the first time I'm sharing this. This is how much money I was making every year in every job. If you go one by one. So I started with, but these all are yearlies, not monthlies. So I used to make 45K INR when I was an acting company yearly. So my average was around 4K a month. 4,000 a month. Then I joined that residency in Ahmedabad. This 4.5 is my top, by the way. I joined them. I worked there for 4 years. So I started with like 18 at that time. Then after 4 years, I had 45K or something in my hand as monthly. Then I joined the web agency, which was in Delhi. And this is where, by the way, we're going to talk about a topic called being ahead of the curve, right? And this, you'll also notice one thing. We'll talk about that in the next slide. In that one, I was making 14.5 a year. Then I joined the product company where I was making 36 something. Then I joined my full-time freelancing after leaving that. And this is, by the way, full-time freelancing is 2 years back, right? So after 8 years of working, I was able to do 42, right? And then I now run my own agency, and this is how much I do as an agency founder right now. This is gross revenue, by the way. The fun part is freelancing. When you're doing, you get the whole thing at your hand. When you're building an agency, they are expenses. They are expenses. Yeah, so the net profit thing is really fun. But being a Gujarati, being brought up all around businesses, it was easier for me to get into the business and get into that sort of thing. But this is it. Now, this I'm sharing for the first time. I'm sharing with you all to show you that while I started, I was a typical graphic designer. Started with very basic. But in the last 10 years, trajectory has changed. And in this topic, we're going to talk, like in this workshop, I'm just going to talk about all those pointers where I have changed. or where I have seen my friend also change and make most money, right? So here
Right.
some of the
Okay.
experiences are mine, some experiences are my friends, right? Which people I know, and we're going to detail. Now, if you notice, between advertisement agency and web agency, the biggest change happened, right? From 45K to IIT company 2 years to 4.5 in 4 years. Suddenly,
Right.
after 4 years, I left that agency and I joined a web agency, which I worked for a year, and I took around a 3.5x jump. Now, what changed there? Right?
Right.
What changed was COVID.
Okay.
And with COVID, what changed was my mindset.
All right. Okay.
From just being a designer, when COVID hit, I was alone, 12 hours in house, no people around. I had 8 months of time where I was while doing my job. I also had time to explore the world. I also had time to go to Twitter. I also time to go to Facebook and interact because all my traveling hours were saved. All my like other things which we used to do before COVID going out was saved, right? And that change a very big thing in me. Like here are four major shift which I saw now in hindsight. Obviously, I see that at that time it was natural, so I did not see those. Which was from being an artist, from being a designer who's like, yeah, I do this because I can just like this is just talent. I became to a business professional. In COVID, a lot of businesses open up. You might notice that a lot of online businesses started in COVID era, right? People
Yes.
started doing their own businesses. Everyone who had a simple, comfortable job, they also started doing their own companies and started making their own products. And cause of that, they needed designers. They need people who can work for them and design their logos and branding. Being a brand designer, by the way, at that time, I started working for them. Before that, I was freelancing just for friends online, like just for fun. But in this case, I also started thinking like a business person. I was like,
Right.
yeah, this is not art. I gotta do this as a process. I gotta do this as a process. Sorry for that.
Understood.
Silent that. I gotta do this as a process. I gotta think like a businessman. I gotta run this like a business, not like a practice where I just wake up and do something where I like it. Because after COVID, we didn't know what's gonna happen. So that seriousness gave me that mindset. And once that changed, what changed for being a designer, I started giving business solutions. I was like, look, I'm gonna make a logo for you. No, I'm gonna make a brand identity for you. Why is that useful? People trust more companies who have brand identities than companies who don't have identities. It's a simple human thing, right? I can go more in detail in this, but this is not about brand identity topic. But in this, in
Understood.
simpler way, it is that people say that we don't should not judge, but the reality is humans judge. You go to somewhere in your casuals, you will be judged. You go to somewhere in a tuxedo, in a suit, you will be respected more. It is what it is. It's the world.
Yeah. True.
Hopefully, we change that mindset, but let's be honest, it's not getting changed like anytime
Yeah.
soon. So once that change, even my perspective, even the way I was selling to my clients change, and that's where I got the confidence to ask instead of my hourly rate. So when I was working with another agency, I was like 8 hours a day. We had some 240 hours a month. I was getting like,
Right.
yeah, this is fine. I'm working for this much. I'm making this much money. My per hourly rate is this much. Yeah, nice. I'm making this much money. Good. But
Yeah.
then when I joined the web agency, I asked them instead of my hourly rate, I asked for my value. I was like, yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
matter how many hours I work. I can work for an hour, but the
Right.
value I bring is very different. And all this happened
Understood.
because I also said I got out of COVID. We had that time. We had time to retrospect. We had time to think and go into that perspective, right?
Right.
And being a
Okay.
brand designer who come from, by the way, I did not tell about this. I should have shared this. I changed three industry before I became a designer.
Oh, all
So
right.
yeah, I wanted to become a CA. Did
Okay.
not pass the CPT. Got to know that yeah, I'm shit in this shit. I can't do the number thing. But while getting ready for CPT, I took my time and audited, like interned under a CA. So I became good with numbers. became an accountant, joined my first job as an accountant. Uh, Being a son of a vendor, my father is a paint contractor in a real estate company. I was also very good with people around me, engineers, vendors who were supplying materials and all that. Uh, I became a purchase manager, did that for 2 years, and then I got into design because that same company had a section where they would print brochures and merchandise for their real estate companies, right? So that's how I got into design, and I used to know
Understood.
some Photoshop. I mean, if you were in that era when Facebook was coming up, every teenager I think has used Photoshop to lighten up their skin on editing their photos, right? So I already knew Photoshop, but at that time I knew that okay, I can make money from this, right?
Right.
So because I knew accounting, I knew how to talk to people as a purchase manager. When I was pitching to my clients, I was not selling them design services. I was charging them for even these things. I was charging them that I can tell them how much time their project will take. I was charging them to tell them, okay, I can deliver this project. I was charging them that I can communicate with them. I can clarify to
Understood.
not just to them, even their customers. I would understand what their customer needs. Being a purchase manager, like in hindsight, now I feel the way my life has moved is because I did those jobs. If I was not a purchase manager, I would have never had a chance to understand different type of businesses. I know
Right.
how a tiles company runs their business. I know how a textile company runs their business. I know how a plumbing company runs their business. Cause I was a purchase manager, I was gonna go buy their goods. I would understand their models. I would understand how would they sell, how would they price the whole thing, what is transporting charges and all that, right? So once I learned that, when I was working with client here now in freelancing, and by the way, in this agency era, I worked on more than 200 plus pitch decks.
Okay.
And when I worked on pitch decks, the biggest like I think most of you would know why pitch decks are used for, but if you don't know, they are used to raise money from investors for businesses.
Right.
So I understood that okay, there's someone who's building a product and asking for 2.5 million for some percent of equity, and I'm designing the deck. So this deck which I'm making, which I might at that time, let's say for random number, charging to 40K for the whole deck, right? INR. Uh, I was charging him that, but he's gonna or she's gonna raise 2.5 million on this deck. So while that time matters, but this deck also plays a very big part of it. So I didn't want to just do it like a random deck I'm making. It's a design project. I would talk to the founder and ask them questions to understand like an investor. I would watch videos of how investors invest, how what is their process. A lot of people don't know, but investors don't take a look at pitch decks. They take a look at investor memo, which is something their juniors or their interns make from the pitch deck. I did not know
Okay.
that when I was designing that pitch deck. Once I understood that, I did my research. That's where my expertise started becoming like top of other people, right? And that's why I could charge premium value. A founder would
Right.
come, I would just not design it for visuals. I would make that pitch deck so they would have a better chance of raising money. I would understand their businesses. I would even suggest the founder to rework on their business strategies. Because I've been working on the deck. I had that expertise, which I learned from that. Being an accountant, I have seen a lot of businesses from someone doing lakhs in a year to doing crores in a year. Right? I have handled their books. All that information helped me here. And this expertise turned into premium value. But the main important thing to remember is all this happened because I had my mindset change. You got to start with that mindset, and that will happen when you have people around you. Then when you have, uh, obviously, I had COVID, which helped. Not so for everyone, but for me, it helped to me give that push. But if you have people around you, they'd also help you in that process.
Right.
I'm gonna get a sip of water. Hopefully, you can all take this in. Till now, we I think have reached half of the not half, but 45% of the deck. If you have any questions,
Yeah,
feel
definitely,
free to
guys.
drop, and I'll just take a sip till then.
Yeah, sure. Guys, please drop your questions. And of course, you can raise your hand and we'll, have your mics on and then you can ask your questions as well. I have a question for my end also. I just wanted to understand what an investor memo is on how it's created. But then, guys, I think I would love to take your questions first. I don't want to just keep on, asking questions as a host. So, yeah. Guys, anyone has any questions? Yeah, we have one in the Q&A. Second.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Deep Patel is asking, we are a team of designers and have been working together as freelance designers for the past 3 and 4 years. We are now considering starting a studio and an agency, but none of us have the experience of running a studio or how to manage it. Now, how can we start and what are the things we need to consider? Just a second, I'll just find Deep and I'll mute his camera.
Yeah, sure. By the way, Deep, a big fan of your work. I love your work on Instagram and Twitter. I've been following. I was willing to reach out to you for some of the Dacoit's work. So we'll do that after this call. Great poster on the 𝘁𝗵𝗍𝗀 one. Love that poster, by the way. You are on mute, Deep. If you're saying something, I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, Deep. So when you think about agency, right? Like, I get it that you don't have experience, but how do you get experience for anything?
Yeah, before starting anything. So we are kind of in the process. We are kind of सोच रहे हैं कि अभी जाके रजिस्टर करवाएंगे, वर्क करना स्टार्ट करेंगे.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. No, register करवाया ही नहीं.
Nothing doesn't make sense. Don't do any of that.
Okay.
So just do this. Make a Twitter account.
Okay.
Start posting work. Don't even make a website. Okay. Make a Twitter account. See, all this fluff is important when you are on a level that you have to tell people that, hey, we are doing this, right? And registration comes at a very later stage. You are 4 people. You are 4 friends who can adjust. Like, I ran a design agency in Web3 for a year without even like meeting my friends offline, all online people, right?
Yeah.
You have the understanding. No need to do the registration legalities part right now at this stage, right? Worry about the whole thing. Just make a Twitter account, give agency a name, start posting your work, share your work, which you already do. Do that from the agency account, right? And start taking clients.
Okay.
Get into the detail of registration and all that once you have 10 clients. When you have closed 10 clients, work for 6 months, then get into all these legalities, because then you'll need people to got TDS and all that problems, right? Till then, work as a proprietor on your name. If you have one person who you can all trust, just work from that person's name for the payments and all that. But don't get into any of this. All this is just extra right now at this stage, right?
Okay.
You are 4 people, which is more than enough for an agency. You all could run this agency for a couple of years without even hiring for another person, right? Just make sure that you still do the documentation part of where you send proposals and all that. All that is available on internet like Diamond. I'm assuming because you are on Twitter, we are connected. So I think you know about AI also, right?
Yes.
So just go to Claude, ask it to make a proposal for you and be done with it.
So वो ऑलरेडी एज अ फ्रीलांसर हम करते ही है. हमें हमारे नाम की जगह पे एजेंसी का नाम ही करना है.
What is freelancer and what is agency? What is the biggest difference between them? Like, how do you know this is agency, this is not a freelancer?
So मैं वही चीज को कंसीडर कर रहा था कि एजेंसी में मेरे को हर एक चीज को कैसे बैलेंस आउट करना पड़ेगा कि यहाँ पे मेरे को एक्सपेंसेस अलग करने हैं, ये मेरा नेट रेवेन्यू अलग होगा, वो सारी चीजें मेरे को अलग करके रखनी है, अकाउंटिंग प्रॉपर करना पड़ेगा, वो सारी चीजें.
Yeah, don't do that. Why long? Don't worry about that part of agencies. Also have like 100x and 0x, right? But starting from 0, right now at this agency. Just start with your name, right? For now, because you 4 are working, so I'm assuming you will do a partnership like 20%, 25% wala thing, right? Don't even do a net revenue expense and all that, right? Just take that profit, start working on this, close 10 projects, and then you'll also understand how you work with who's communicating all that information, right? So don't get into this part of it. Like, there are people who are doing better businesses because they are not thinking this much, very honestly. Right? So just you gotta do is you just gotta change your mindset from being a freelancer to an agency for a person, right? And we'll talk about this later also when we have a slide about this, right? But just think on that. Just start with that. Don't overthink. Believe me, the overthinking is gonna kill it. Just start.
So उसके साथ ही मेरा एक और क्वेश्चन है कि उसमें अभी क्या हो रहा है कि we have a 1 or 2 agency working with us. So हम उनके साथ
I'm sorry, but I think we'll take more questions because we have more people also. I'm sorry,
sure.
yeah.
Sure.
We can do this 101. I'll send you my calendar link. Let's talk later.
Done.
Perfect,
yes,
bro.
Sure.
See you then. Bye. You're on mute. You're mute.
Yeah. So, Deep, I hope it answers part of the questions. But then, of course, he'll be available offline to just connect with. So, yeah, till then, we'll take one more question if it's possible, Rahul.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Vishal is asking.
It's okay with everyone, by the way. Ask them. I'm okay. I'm here for you. A couple of hours for you. So, is everyone chat is okay with that question?
Yeah, we'll just take this one, and then guys, we'll have a separate Q&A part at the end of the
Yeah, no.
workshop.
Till
So
then,
then, yeah.
do this. Like while I'm answering this question, everyone do the exercise. Write down a number you want to make yearly.
Okay. It'll
Like, write down this
be
number.
okay if we write it in rupees, right? It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
even dollar works. Like so, but I wanted to be write in dollars because that gives you bigger opportunities. Like, it's
True.
easier to write down $45,000 than 45,000 INR, right? Like, if you're
Yeah.
dreaming big, let's dream big. So everyone
True,
do
true.
that, and drop that in chat. By the way, don't be ashamed. It is fine. Whatever the number you have in mind, it's totally fine. And nobody's gonna shame you for it, right? So just don't be
Right.
ashamed. Drop that number in the chat while I answer this question.
Right. So yeah, so Bishal had a question wherein he was asking, how do I sell? Okay. So this is just like the overview. I'll just unmute Vishal and we'll have a chat with him. Just a second.
Okay, now everyone has a very good one. Good one, Janvi.
Yeah, just a second.
I don't think you need that many G-Wagons home. Vishal has an verified account, so he can't unmute himself. I think you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Vishal, how are you?
Vishal, try doing unmute now.
Vishal, I've
Yeah.
given you the access. You can now unmute your.
Yeah. Vishal, are you here with us? Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, Vishal.
Yeah, Vishal, if you're speaking, your audio is not really audible. Could you just try it again? Yeah.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're audible. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. So, hello, Rahul. So, my
Hey,
question was like, I'm not that much good with people. So, how can I sell actually?
Okay. At least you have clarity. That is nice. You know that you're not good with people, right? What are the ways of selling? Let's say if you're running a business, you have to start a company together tomorrow, or let's say you got to do research, right? What are the
Yeah.
ways people are selling today? If you have to put them into brackets.
So, first of all, direct communication, right? Through chats or something, and through let's say verbal communication. I know that much only.
Okay, I'll put them in more in bracket, right? So we have online, we have offline, right? In online, we have few things where we are selling them with ads. There are a few things where we sell them, as you said, by talking to them, giving more context and all that. And in offline, we have shops and everything, correct?
Yes.
Hiten, bro, we got to increase that number. That is very low number. You got to double it down. Now coming back, Vishal.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're not good with people, right? Find a way where you can sell async, right? So have you heard about subscription-based agencies?
Yeah, I have heard about that. Yeah.
They don't do communication. There's no calls. It's all async on chat.
Yeah, that's right.
That's one way, right? Second way would be, which I did. So again, I'm good with sales. I have done that my whole life. But after a time, because I again, everyone, please be aware of your own issues, right? Please be self-aware. There's no there's no shame in knowing that okay, I can't do this or I don't know this yet. It's always yet. You can always put it off. And there's few biases in our world where you can't actually do anything about them, right? So one of the biggest biases which you might have heard, I think most people here might have heard, which is called brown text. So the same quality of work which you are doing sitting in India, if someone is doing sitting in Europe, they'll easily pay it 4x of yours. Why?
Yeah.
Because they are not brown. This is the thing, right? So I'm aware of that. So once I was able to get out of the Indian market and reach at that level where I could not sell to more Indian people, I was like, I gotta sell it to US people. And I understood that, okay, my English, my communication, the way I talk, the way my personality is, it is something which I was very blessed that I came into Web3, where we are breaking rules and we are changing the way we sell and everything, right? Professionalism is a different way in Web3, so it works for me there. But in Web2, when I got stuck with that, I got a co-founder, or I
Alright.
hired a communication person who's good with that. If I know that by doing that, I can increase my business, that expense is doable.
All right.
Right.
And
Because you will make profit out of it. So if you feel that is an issue, hire someone to do communication for you. Right?
okay,
You
but
can just
I
be the
want to improve it for myself, right? It will be very much beneficial for me in my growth also.
it is definitely, I think that you should do. But let's
Yeah.
say if you want to make the cash right now and don't want to invest into time into growing yourself at this stage, right? As a businessman. So again, this is where the mindset is very important, right? A lot of people, when they think of this, they're like, yeah, we're gonna grow, we're gonna learn this skill, I gotta learn motion because I want to do brand and I want to make website which flows and all that shit. And they try and like spend their 3 months learning that. They are at the early stage, so the quality of work they produce is shit, right? And I ask, if
Yeah.
you, Vishal, I'm assuming Vishal, right? I'm assuming you are freelancing right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm into freelancing. Like I am student right now, so
Yeah, doesn't matter, but whoever you're, like, we have 13-year-old kids doing crazy shit, so age is not a factor here. If you're freelancing here right now at this stage, right?
yeah.
Tomorrow a client comes, okay, hey Vishal, I need what is it, a motion video from you. What would you say?
I will ask for the things they have in their mind and what they
No,
need.
but do you have someone who can do motion? Like, do you do motion?
No, I'm not into that. I am assuming like I know that and
So what will the next step? You'll acquire someone, right? You'll hire someone, or you will partner with someone to do that, correct?
correct. Yes.
Why did you not say, you know what, I'm gonna learn motion because I want to do this? It's also a business thing, right? It's a skill. Think like a business, right? At this stage, you got to make money. You have to do it for profit. You have
Yeah.
expenses, right, which are there. You know that, okay, communication might be higher expenses, but the result of it might increase my business sales, right? Right now, if I'm selling 10,000 of work every month, right? My monthly retainer is 10,000. If I get a person to do communication and sales, it might become 20K thousand, right? And or 30,000, and that person's salary is 10,000, while this 20% of that person, like your business cost, but that also is giving you more business, right? You
Yeah.
can do that while you also improve yourself. Now, the good thing is you had an expert who know how to do this shit and who can also train you doing this,
Yeah, definitely yes.
right? So even as a student, don't think like, yeah, I don't have a company, I don't have an office, I don't or not a business person. You are doing a business, right? Hire someone to do this. It's very important to do that. Like, don't this is a very big problem with us also, right? Like Indians in mindset that we
Yeah,
kind of just want to make it work with what we have. Why?
from business mindset, it also saves time also, right?
Yes,
True.
it's obviously beneficial in long term.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. That is it. I
Thank
think
you.
we should continue with the slide then.
Yeah,
Everyone?
yeah. Thank you for asking the question, Vishal. Thank you. All right.
Utsav, yeah, then Brazilian shit. If you're gonna do then Brazilian, then you got to do the scam like those. It is what it is. But thank you all. Let's just continue with the deck then.
Yeah, sure, please.
So I'm assuming you all wrote down this number. I have seen this. We'll come back at a later stage when we are asking questions, and we'll try to
Yeah.
like get more detail about those, right? And how can we change that? Obviously, I can't do fix your finance like Anshuman. By the way, Google this. You should. Shout out to Anshuman. Go to YouTube, search fix your finance.
Okay.
I'm just giving a shout out, like I just remember randomly, but he'll teach you so much about money.
Done.
Getting to the next point. Now, after this, here's the biggest thing, right? Here's what I learned after COVID. Here's what I learned in the last 10 years of my career, that if you want to make the most money, right? The person who makes, like, how many of you watch Tarak Mehta here?
The old ones, yes.
I'm assuming most of you would be, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hiten did his camera on for that hand. But yeah, all of them, right? Why does Jethalal has so much money, but Baga doesn't? Or Nettu Kaka doesn't? Because Jethalal owns that business. right?
Right.
And they are other people are just doing jobs, right? So if you own that business, you're gonna make 𝘁cie, but you also gotta become a 𝘁cie. That's the fun part of being a designer, right? If you're a designer who's working in an agency, if you're a designer who's working in a product company, you're a designer who's working in any kind of business, right? You notice one thing: you are an asset which is not replaceable. After a stage, you are a big part of their whole strategy.
Right.
Like Zomato, for example, right? The reason you know Zomato is not because they deliver food fast and all that shit. You know, because of their brand. You know the humor advertisement they do, right? So the person
Right.
who's in Zomato, who's writing these ads, becomes so irreplaceable, right? That he can go and he or she, I know that person, he's a he, I forgot his name, but he can go and ask the founder, Dipender, okay, hey bro, I need this much equity. And while PD businesses, offline businesses, you don't have that thing, but as designers, because we're working in this online era, you can go and ask for 2-3% of equity, which in long term is gonna make you more money than your whole salary. And we'll go into
Right.
more detail about this in the next few slides. But this is why you gotta always own the piece of pie. And whenever you're doing something, think how can you own? You gotta take that risk. Obviously, it's gonna be there, right? But how can you become a part of it? Have more skin in the game instead of just taking the money and getting out, right? For example, if Deep is doing an agency, he's with his friends, he's doing this. If I gotta join tomorrow, I can do a job with him, but I can say, you know what, bro, don't pay me for 6 months. Give me 10% equity. I'll work for free for 6 months. And if you make money from me, then pay me. If not, no worries. After 6 months, based on my performance, you pay me. I have taken a gamble of 6 months. But if I take that 10% and I get the 10%, after a year when the profit comes, I'm gonna make more money than the salary thing. Right. So try to find ways of doing that. And this is how, by the way, this is all the gist of the making money is this: owning a piece of that pie. And
Right.
if I in today's space, right, you have that power. Understand this? Like I am amazed when designers don't understand this, right? You can just go help out a person who's building some product and say, you know what, don't pay me, just give me some equity. And you can do that for 100 businesses in a month. Like how
Right.
tough it is for you to design a website, right? You let's say you do one in 2 days. You can do that for 15 businesses in a month. Like think about your surface of luck, like how big it is now. Even if one is successful, you'll make the more money which you would have made doing those 15 projects. Like we have that power. Like we can do that, and I'm amazed how people are not doing that, right? And today with AI, people want more designers, more humans to make the product, launch it, right? You just gotta talk to people, you gotta connect and do this, right? So this is, I think, the if you gotta take one thing away from this whole workshop, take this one piece. Take a screenshot of this, make a post out of this, put this on your table, put this on your screen, make this a wallpaper, but
Yeah.
always work to have that piece of pie. Or you can own the whole pie. That also you can do. But
A certain way, yeah.
yeah, the minimum goal should be this, right?
Right.
Now, I'm gonna go more into the slides. We're gonna go now
Yeah.
into topics.
Right.
We are gonna go traditional ways. So there's a lot of ways of making money as a designer, right? But there are 3 traditional ways which people know. Okay, so we're gonna talk about those 3. The
Right.
first one is the company designer, where we work in a company. Mostly, I'm gonna take an example of product company here. We are not gonna go IT company or anything like that.
Okay.
IT companies are kind of a agency setup where they're like just working with clients coming in. It's a very dependable thing. So we would give to a product one.
Okay.
Before that, I think I should answer the Kush question. Kush, that's very important. I have taken equity. I have taken tokens for designing a website. Because a founder who's starting their own product, right? Where is his or her customers are gonna come from? That landing page. And obviously, you need your personal brand to do this. You need to have that expertise where people want to work with you, right? And then you can ask them. They're like, let's say if you charge 5 lakhs for a website, they might not have that cash, right? But you can say, you know what, I'm gonna do this for 1 lakh. Give me in equity, right? And you'll find 5 out of, I think, 50 who will do yes to that. Again, it's again a number game, right? Not everyone is going to say yes to that. But once you're on that level, you'll get that. And your goal should be doing that only. Your goal should not be just doing a project and getting out of it. And by the way, this is one stage, right? There's a ways where people have got an equity where they have said, you know what, I'm going to make a landing page out of this, but I also do consulting for you. Instead of you hiring a in-house designer who will cost you easily 50K plus all the finance stress of hiring, HR, management, leaves and all shit, right? You got to manage that. Hire me as a consultant. Instead of paying me 50K, pay me 20K. Give me this equity. And at that stage, when they don't have anything, they are okay with 2-3% of equity. They're like, yeah, just take this. But obviously, you gotta make yourself important. If they're just gonna give away equity, right? You gotta have that importance of yourself, Kush, right? You gotta make your personal brand. You gotta do that lot of work where people want to work with you, where people want to use your work. Again, it's all value. If your name adds value to their product, they'll pay you whatever you want to do. Right? Right now, if someone says, yeah, we have gotten this website designed by Dacoit Design, it adds value to their brand, right? We are very starting the point, so it's not at that level where we can just go and demand anything. But think of other agencies, pentagrams and all that, right? They all do this with equity and all that. They ask for cash. They ask for crazy cash, which you and me could not even think 4-5 years back. Like, why would someone pay $1 million for a rebrand? You're like, logo change karna hai na. Iske liye $1 million kyun do main? Dollar mein. People are paying because of that impact you have. Right? So obviously you're going to work on that. It all comes with those mutual fund wala pura cheez hai, but just as you can try, you can always ask and get that. Perfect. I think Kush's question is answered. We'll go next. The first one is compared to the company designer. Sorry, I get hyperactive, which is product company mein, okay? Then come independent freelancers like Deep we had. And then come people like me who are agency founders. Right. Now, there's a lot of other ways also when you can make money. Like you can start selling templates, you can start selling resources, you can make assets and all that, which is happening for the last 20 years. But yeah, as a design thing, that those are the tougher ones. There's also a content way you can go, right? Like you can create content and like Anshmer is a good example of that, creating design content and then selling and getting into that sort of things, right? You can even start cohorts, start teaching design. So a lot of different ways. But we are going to go a bit traditional. We are going to go a simpler ways. We can't go into all the directions which I have done. But I would suggest in your lifetime as a career as a designer, try all of those. I have taught a student class for 200 rupees per hour. When I used to take class for people on Canva, by the way. This was for Canva designing on a Facebook group. I randomly posted, hey, if you are like this COVID also, like maybe 200, and I had around 30 students, something like that. Because 200 month was like, yeah, I will do. 4 classes are like, so experiment, do that. I do content still, right? I experiment on that. You got to experiment as much as you can, but we're going to talk about these 3 topics, right? And we'll go one by one. And now this gets interesting. Okay, we have an hour in this, and I've been talking a lot, so I'm sorry if I bored you. But now we're going to do exercises. Now we are going to do workshop in a way that where you will get to know more about your skills and your how much cash you can make, bro. Like this is going to be that thing. So let's get into this. So for the first, we're going to talk about the company designer.
Yeah.
Right. How can a person who's a designer in a company make cash? For example, I don't want to lagaing aag in the Sandskriti company, but how can Barun make more cash as a designer in Sandskriti? How can he do that? Right. Here are 2 ways of doing that.
Okay.
How many of you know about ESOPs? If you know, just drop a just hi.
Yeah.
And that kid knows.
Raise of hands will also work, but yeah.
Yeah. Who knows here about ESOPs? I'm surprised. It's a lot of, I think 3 people. I'm surprised that very less people of you know about ESOPs. So when you work on a product companies, they don't like, if someone like Zomato, for example, let's take that, right? They can't give you equity because they got to use that equity for investors, for people they got to raise cash in future, right? So what is there's ESOPs. ESOPs are a form of equity where you own a certain number of shares, which you can redeem by selling it to the company, right? You can unblock them after a year. And the thing was about, so if you have equity, you can also that also has come with a rule But the concept of equity is that if you own some company's equity or shares, you can sell it as soon as you want. ESOPs come with locking period, vesting period, which we call it. The way it works is you join a company like Zomato. They say, you know what, we're going to pay you. By the way, this is how also HR people get the top people. Like, I'm not sure if Jay is here. Jay is the design HR, one of the top ones. He was used to hire for Cred. I'm not sure if he's here, if he's not. Hopefully he's here. But this is what I learned from him in that case. A lot of people, when you're at a senior level, right, cash doesn't make that much, like the salary doesn't make that much attractive to you. Like if you're getting 1 CR a year, that salary and credit is not attractive to you. How do you get people into your company? You give them ESOPs, right? The way ESOP works is that they are based on company's value. So if company does good, you can make more money on that, right? So that's ESOP. And you should do this if you're working on a startup which is very new, right? You have good talent, you're just starting with them, ask for equity, take equity from them, right? As much as you can. If they are not ready to give equity, give the excuse of this, get ESOPs. Get tokens, like promise them, hey, I can unlock this much percentage of what you are raising at that time, right? If you're early, use that skill, right? This is how product design people can make more money. If you're joining a company, try to get a ESOP deal. Take less cash at that salary. Your monthly would be less, but your ESOPs on growth, if you trust that much in company, would be higher. And I'm assuming you don't want to leave that company for a year, because these ESOPs mostly come for a couple of years or 4 years, right? So vesting period, you got to be there for 4 or 5 years, right? So if you're seeing a feature like that, go through these, choose these exercises. A lot of people don't even know about that these exist. And because of that, they miss out on these opportunities. They just go, yeah, we're getting good salary, we're just working, we make cash. But this is how you make the cash. How many of you heard about what is called in English 𝘁𝗵𝗿? I don't know what that's called. Sorry, yeah, I found the word. Compounding.
Okay.
Compounding, right? Like compounding is the key here also. When you're making a salary, it's going yearly. But when you're taking ESOPs, it's compounding every month because the profit and everything is changing at that was, right? So try to get into that side of things, right? Thank you, Janvi. Thank you. Now let's go to the next one. Independent freelancers. We all have been that. We all have been still doing it. I'm assuming a lot of people, I think out of 37 which are watching this, maybe 15 are freelancers here, and or maybe 20. I think that would be really interesting. How can you make money as an independent freelancer? And not only like make the base money, how can you make the most money out of it? How can you make the best in that sense, right? Okay, I think this game. Okay, this is by mistake here, but this gave me a chance to remind you again. This is important. Again, own a piece of the pie. So I think the designing by this might have come again here. But let's do this, right?
Good.
Let's calculate your minimum rate. Now, this is another way of calculating your per hourly rate. Right? This is an exercise which you're going to do together, okay? As a freelancer, as I said, I told this to Deepak, right? Don't think like a freelancer, think like an agency person, right? Write down these numbers, okay? What I'm going to try to do is, if I can edit this slide, I'm going to do it live with you all. Let's see. Okay, I think I might have to join Figma. Okay, I'm going to go to Figma and I'm going to do it live with you all. And hopefully I'll be able to work on this. Yeah. Nobody's going to peek ahead, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So let's try to calculate your minimum rate. Now, in this one, what I've tried to do is, instead of going way of where you like, I'm going to make this much, this one, you go and you think how much you want. Like, remember I asked you to make, tell your yearly number, right?
Yeah.
Give me one number, no, Nabrun?
Annual income goal, I think it was 100,000 from my end.
Yeah, 100,000, right?
Yeah.
I think I have added enough zeros or one more. Yeah,
100,000. That's enough. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Right. Everyone do the exercise, you'll get to know this. Now, this is your money which you want to make at a year. This is a gross revenue, right?
Yeah.
Now, what you want to do is we want to include like these pointers, right? So if you're going to make 100,000 a year, what will be your billable hours?
Okay. All right.
Let's assume you work. Let's assume you work 8 hours a day. For
Yeah.
25 a day a month, we think of all the chuttis and leaves and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have 25 by 8. That's 200 days,
200
hours a
hours.
month.
Yeah, 200
Right?
hours.
Yearly, that would become. Anyone want to guess? Take a jab at that. Answer that. 2400.
Cool.
Right. Now what we'll do is we'll divide
100,000 by 20. Okay.
divide by 2400.
Yeah.
This is your per hour rate which you gotta make. 41 hours I'm gonna put here. So 2400 hours I'm gonna put here, right? And your minimum rate will be per hour, by the way, bro. It's gonna be $41 it is. So I'm gonna take a $40 per
$40 round off. Yeah.
per dollar, yeah, right?
Okay.
Hour.
Yeah.
This is your goal to complete this, right? Now in this is your gross revenue. Also gonna make profit out of it, right? So you also gotta keep your monthly expenses and all that minus you can do, right?
Yeah.
They will also give you a base. This is the base I can work with. So this is your 40 which you wanna make total. But in this 40, I'm assuming mostly $10 per hour is gonna be monthly expense and all that, right? That take another 5 for tax and all that and cost. So your actual cost, like where you'll make money, is gonna be $25.
25. Yeah.
Hour.
Yeah.
This is how much you should make if you want to reach your goal. Nothing for you, right?
Yeah.
Now you gotta reverse this. How can you find something where you can do this? Right?
Right.
Whatever job you're doing right now, doing 40 hours an hour, like so that is daily becomes $320, right? So around 24K per 1,000 a day in INR. Obviously, not a single job is gonna do that for you, right? And that's why we have freelancers, right? So as a freelancers, you need to find jobs where you're getting paid this much an hour. This is again, you don't have to tell the client hour based, right? This is for your calculation to know that okay, I gotta work this many hours to do that. As we talk about value based pricing, you can always like work for less hours and still make this much money, right?
Right.
But to go in a systematic manner and practice this, you need to do this, right? So now your this is if you're doing this many hours, this is your day, 8 hours a day, 320 by 30 is gonna be, you gotta make $10,000 a month to reach like $9,600 a month to reach this target.
Right.
This is your goal. Now, this people, a lot of people are like, yeah, we are working, we are going. So a lot of people make a mistake that they compare their like money or like the money they're making with what they used to make last year. Which you should not. You just had bad bosses. You had like maybe a bad year. You are not ready. A lot of things can be done there, right?
Right. True.
You should have your goal. And the reason I ask you the goal is that worst case scenario, let's say you ask for 100K, right? Worst case scenario is if you go for 100K, worst case scenario is to at least make 50K. Of that you will be able to make, right? Now I know if you go without that and just like work as a freelancer, like yeah, whatever project is coming, I'm doing, you won't reach that number.
Right.
Because again, you're treating it as a hobby, not as a business.
True.
You're someone who's running a business, bro. Even if it's a single person, sole person business, it's a business, right?
It is. Yes.
I think I'm getting into Nabron too much. I could like make it more for everyone. Everyone, if you like, sorry, I think talking to you all, right? You all got to understand this, right? This is the Gujju mindset. It's a business. Treat it like a business. Have goals. Have quarterly plannings. Understand which thing work for you. How many retainers clients you have. How many returning clients you have. Which kind of services you're selling. Are you selling long-term services? Are you selling short-term services? Are you does your customers have a lifetime value? By the way, how many of you know about lifetime value? Very interesting concept, which is that I think it's LTV, which just means that how much money can you make out of one customer. So a product company has a higher lifetime value because they are gonna make a product for 3 months, then the client goes, tests out, comes back, and they keep working it for maybe 2-3 years till the product gets ready and launched, right? and a website or agency has a lower LTV because your client just come from a website and might go out. But the client might also need other work. So if you're doing print, you might also sell that, right? So all that is there. Understand those business things. That's how we make the money. See, understand people, a lot of time designers, this is an artist thing. Don't. You got to have fun. But start having fun in numbers. Start having fun with these things. As Deep was saying that you want to register and do this and that, right? Instead of doing the documentation, do this documentation. Go back a whole year. See the project you did. Write down those numbers. Which kind of clients you work with. How much money you made for all of them. How much like project you sold to them. You know your hourly rate. Know how much profit you made from them, right? After doing that, see if you can go back and get more work from them. Can you get more work from them? Do that. Don't be just like randomly going out and just saying, yeah, I'm going to make much cash. You got to do work. And this is where it comes in. Now I'm going to go your case ahead to make this 10K. If you are freelancers, we'll also go into an exercise later, which you want to do scenario. But the thing is, if you are a freelancer in that case, right, what you have to do is you have to do a monthly project where you reach 9.6K. Now you know already your projects. You know which kind of projects you do. If you're doing branding, you know the quality of them, right? Like, or the cost of them. If you're doing product, you know how much a product, how many times the product take to do that project, right? How much time that project takes, how much that project costs, right? In that case, you'll be able to figure out, okay, I need to do 4 branding projects, 3 website projects, 2 video projects to make this much money in every month. Right. Or you'll be able to figure out, oh, I need to do more monthly retainer. I need to find a client who can pay me 2K a month to do their social media. Right? Because I need to make 10K a month, right? So how can I do that? Okay. Does finding a client every month for branding is easy? No, it's going to take time. It's a long-term thing, right? So how else can I do that? What if I go with retaining clients, right? Find retaining people. The way that works is you have few skills which are useful in that. So that is product consulting. You can do that. You can do social media. You can do production of videos like podcasts who are doing for that, right? You can do that content, like design for their podcast graphics and all that, right? So all these things you would know your, like, again, this is very vague for your person. You will know what you are good at, right? Find that balance by yourself. See, okay, I might need to do 30% of retaining clients and 60% of, again, this is risk thing, right? And again, this is not 10K every month you're going to make. It's, you always look at a yearly thing. There would be a time where you'll make 30K in a month and then maybe a 5K in a month, right? True. Again, think like a business. Do you know how, like, if you are someone who's selling sweets, right? In India, your business between the winter, so when Diwali and everything is gonna be much more higher than it's in Holi or before that in after in the summers, right? You know these patterns. It's been here for years. People are aware of that. So if some son of someone's like who has been running a mithai business would know this shit, so they would not worry about lower businesses when they are doing in the summer month. But they'll be ready for Diwali. They'll be ready for the Dussehra and Navratri and all that, right? They'll be ready for that festival. They're going to sell at that time. You also have tons of experience with people around you talking. Like, go to YouTube, search for product companies, agencies. You'll find 10, 20 people talking about it, like tens of thousands of people talking about this, right? You understand how, for example, if you are someone who works in tech, you know when is investing season. You know when VC put money into the companies. You know when does, like after Christmas, for example, the money slows. Most of the US and Europe market is on vacation, right? So the money slows. So that month you might not have that much work. So even think of that. Understand that in mind. Plan out your yearly goal based on that, right? Structure that way. Go against it with the most structured way. Now, in this case, you might know if you don't get clients, don't worry. Again, you are a designer whose job is to solve the problems through visuals and other means, right? Take that as a problem. Why I am not getting clients? How would you work with that? And that's a different topic altogether. We can go into much detail about how to get like sales and all that. But even treat that as a problem. Again, Google, research. You're getting stuck. Ask other agency founders. Do you know how easy it is? How easy it is for you to reach out to someone who's sitting at the top doing this for 20 years. Like, I won't take a name, but there's this agency founder from Delhi who has been like at the top of the game, who have designed for the biggest companies in India, Paytm and all that, right? I could reach out to them and ask them about some advice on Twitter, because I've been making a rapport for them. It's that easy. If you're getting cert, ask the people, talk to them, right? And designers, I think, are the most helpful people today in the industry. Like, you can just go to designers and ask them, and they'll let you know about it. So don't be afraid of that. We'll go into like sales, hopefully in future somewhere we again talk. If not, just ping me on Twitter. You can Google on my YouTube. You'll find some topics around this. But again, as I said, get into detail. Now let's go back to the deck.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're gonna do a presentation and then get back. I think you might be seeing this deck only, not. I'm gonna go back and see if I can go to the. Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, right? So we are clear with that. Everyone is clear with this.
Yeah, also.
Perfect. Hopefully from tomorrow you will have a more structured approach. And whenever you reach your final goal, I'll send you my home address. Send me that mithai ka dabba. Let's go to the next one.
Done.
Now, I think we already talked about this, how you gotta change from my mind from artist to business professional. I think I talked about this in very distinct manner, so we won't go into detail. Now, here is gonna be fun. I need one volunteer. Token Charles, Janvi Ben, token Dorsey. let's do one exercise. I need some volunteer here. We're gonna do a role play here, right? I'm gonna become the client. You're gonna become the freelancer. I have came back with you. I have like disturbed you a lot and gotten more work. I have gotten more than 20% of work done from you. Now you gotta come here and you gotta talk to me about fees after you have done the project. You're like, I gotta ask for more money. Who's gonna try to do that?
Cool, guys. Raise of hands.
Whether this exercise I have copied or taken inspiration from Chris Do. I love that guy. I've learned most of my thing which I've learned about money from him, right? Whether there's a very cool concept while we have someone here. Hey, Virus is here. Hey, Virus. While we go into more detail, he had something which I just love that line. I've told this line to everyone. He talks about dream number. So when you're pitching to a client, if you want to pitch, let's say X number, right? But your dream number is 5X. Always pitch 5X. Because you pitch that to 5 clients. One client says yes. You have covered all that cost. And now your rate has 5X already. And you are gonna do work on a project with that cost 5X, right? So you have more time, more value, more authority also, right? In that case. So let's go. Let's gonna do this.
Yeah. So are there a couple of people ready? I'll just spotlight them.
Yeah, I think we should. Deep, you wanna? I think Deep we can do. Deep have some understanding on this. He's running an agency, so we can do that. Cool. If there's someone else who wants to take a jab, so perfect. If not, Deep is fine.
Yes, I'm up.
Deep, you want to turn on your camera so I can see you too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's start then. Don't be ashamed. You want light camera action?
But Janvi was also ready, and then a couple of people more. So is it possible if I can just add them as well?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's one by one, but let's do that. We'll figure out a way to do this.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So क्या था question में अगर वो John out हो गया था?
Sorry. Yeah, Deep, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Perfect.
Okay. So मैं John out हो चुका हूँ वापस से. Can you repeat the same? The last part.
Achha, so then you don't get the thing. Can we get someone else now? Now I think we should do it to someone else then.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a second. We have another one as well.
I think, but just like to give you all a context.
Yeah.
You are a freelancer who has been working for me. We decided on 18 hours or 80 hours of the work. But by adding small requests, I have increased your work hours from 80 to 200. Now you're going to ask me to pay for that extra 20 hours. And we're going to have this conversation. But I'm also doing the first time, so please be with me. Okay, who want to go? Deep, I think Deep, you can take it then. Let's start.
Yeah.
Hello, Rahul.
Hey, Deep.
So
We love the
basically,
work you did for us. Really great. Thank you for that.
oh, thank you so much for that. But I have a small request on that because due to the request and the repetition of the process and work, I have to increase my work hour, and due to that, my other project is also suffering for that. So maybe you have to pay more extra or something like that, because the initial we have discussed upon 18 hours of work and it's getting extended to 40 or maybe more. We still don't know about that one. So we have to extend the budget as well.
Oh, okay. But I just had a small request. Those were just changes which I asked in your design.
Yeah.
They were not something big.
That was a fine, but there are so many small requests, and due to that, the time we have required to changes the everything, it's getting extended. And we have on the starting of the project, we have decided to go with the 18 hours, and it getting more of the 40 or more like that. So due to that, we are getting more workload and changes,
But you
small
could have
changes.
told me on the first small request. Now you're telling me after, like, and you're asking me for money. I can't do anything. You have done the work. I'm not comfortable with that payment.
Okay, then what we can do is we can after this, if there are small changes, we will inform you, or we can do stuff like that. But we can let it go the first changes and stuff like that. And after that, there are small changes like that, then we will charge for that, if that works for you.
Okay, works for me. Thank you, Deep. So you just saw Deep losing 20 hours of work in the call.
Yes.
Right. Janu, you
I
had your
would
hand up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I was observing your conversation, I just had a general feedback. Deep didn't sounded confident enough in his pitch. He was like, there was some extra work to be done, and and at that time, if you could have seen Rahul, he knew that Deep is not confident, so Rahul had his upper hand at that time, and he was definitely not going to give you that 20 hours of works pay. And as well, like, you were not looking into the camera while speaking. You were like, maybe you had your notes down there on the table, or you were just inherently, you were not confident, so that's why you were like this, and it does not go well uh, with the other person, because they can make, as Rahul is someone, currently it is Rahul, it can be Chris Doe, so they know, they are into the business, and they can judge you within the first 2 minutes that you are confident or you are not confident enough in what you are pitching.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think Deep, Janvi adds very good point here. But
Yeah.
in this case, right? So the way it works is when you ask me, कि, hey, it's all about the approach. Right? You went with me, कि,
Yes.
hey Rahul, यार हमने काम किया और आप extra work हो गया और मेरे projects suffer कर रहे, right? You already made me feel guilty. And because of that, I got defensive.
Okay.
Right. So once I get defensive, it's not about if I was wrong or right. I just want to defend myself, right? Okay, I have not caused your clients to suffer and all that, right? So that tone, that approach needs to change. We'll do it again.
Yes.
Now you become the client, I'll become the freelancer, right? And we'll talk about this. Make sense?
And
Makes
as
sense,
well,
but again,
Yeah, Janvi,
again,
yeah.
मैं nervous हो जाऊंगा वापस से.
No worries. Again, this thing I understand. Janvi's points are very good, but again, I know
Yeah.
that this is the first time, so you are doing that. And hopefully, the client you work with, you have that much like vibe that you would be okay with that. So we'll ignore that part for now, but let's
Yeah,
get to
sure.
that. Jan, you were adding
Yes.
something.
yeah, so I, as well, at the time when like, there was, what I felt Deep could have done better was, at the time when Rahul said that it is just about a few changes in your design, then if you would have documented all that from the start, you could have said that, okay, this was the original plan, this is the additional things which were occurred during the process, which amounts to X hours. So it could have given Rahul a better picture, because as a client, Rahul does like, for Rahul, you are just a designer or a developer doing things, and not all founders or not all clients are tech savvy or design first approach. So they might not understand the hours behind the whole process.
Right.
That's also earlier. I was gonna complete that part, but Chanvi took care of that very nicely, right? So let's try to do this. Let me choose. Yeah, Om, you had something to say?
Yeah, you had something to add.
I
So
can't
to
hear you.
that, hello, can you hear
Now
me?
I can. Yeah, now I can hear you. Yes.
very
Yeah.
good.
So I had the same similar answer to that. That first of all, overall, this scenario, before this scenario comes up, what you should do is that you should draft a proposal where you confirm the work, how much you are gonna work, how much they are gonna pay, and when it extends it like it's 20% over planned hours, then you can you don't even have to talk to them. You can formally mail them. You don't even have to face the client. You can just formally mail them the thing
I
that,
disagree on that,
as
Om.
discussed in the proposal. This is
That
not
hits on your returning clients
right.
very much, because like, see, again, it is more like I have sent you something on text instead of calling you, right?
Right.
Here, what Deep, because he's been working with the client, he would have a repo, right?
Right.
So if he goes on call, he can read the client and knows what's happening. But if you send them a mail, right, now he's in dark. He doesn't know if the response is good or bad, right? And believe me, a lot, and this again works for a lot of US clients. Agreed, Om, this is generally how it works, right? But even for a lot of US clients, when you talk to them, right, when you make them understand the situation, right? So here the 3 steps are very important. Is one, you acknowledge what is happening, right? In a simpler tone. You don't go into like guilt or like in positive and negative. You acknowledge, hey, this happened. Then you go and tell them what you did for them, right? Then you tell them what you was discussed and tell them how much extra you did. And in that, you tell them, hey, bro, as for example, the way I would have said, right? It would be like, hey Deep, how's it? Hope you love the work. Everything is good. If it's a product, like how the product performing, if a website, hope your people are liking the website. And then you go, okay, hey, while doing that, one thing, I didn't want to disturb you at that time when we were doing this because we were on the flow, but we discussed 80 hours. And while working on this to take it to this notch, and while I answer that, if the clients are happy, I would know that if they're happy or not, right? If they're not happy, then you can't make them pay, right? Doesn't matter whatever you do, they won't pay, right? Because in their mind, they're being like, they are not good with end results, so they can't do. So that's, you gotta understand that if they're happy or not, right? And this all normally when you deliver, you'll know that, right? And you can always, most of the time, they'll always pay extra and all that. Once you do that, then you go and then, hey, I did this work for you. While taking this quality, I know that it's decided on 80 hours, but for you, while working on that, I wanted to like take it up that notch. So I added some extra hours. I put some extra 20 hours in this to take up to that quality. And I would send you another bill of that, right? And I hope whenever the next time we work, we'll discuss the proposal more in detail. A feedback I had, which was like that, I love that your small feedbacks. It just really helped to take the thing on the top notch. But on the next time, we might be able to do it better if we can structure them feedback better, right? And then you mention that, okay, I think I also need to work on how to do that together. And then I would appreciate to get that out better of you, right? Here, again, it's not a guarantee that they'll say yes, right? Like it's always like it's sales, right? You never say they say yes or not. The whole thing is you want them to, when they are happy, they're like, yeah, we did good work, right? You're telling, in this case, you're telling them, I did 20 extra hours because I wanted your product to be great, right? Not because I wanted to, like, your small changes made me do that. No, I did that because I wanted your product to be great. I understood you. I heard you. I did all your small requests you wanted at that time and did not even bring the cash at that time because I wanted to get the product done faster and deliver at your timeline, right? Instead of doing this. So the extra work I'm doing, I'm sending you a bill right now. And 80% of cases, they'll pay for that thing, right? Because they're like, they're happy at that moment, right? So at that time, they have gotten that. Other than that, an Indian client, if they're Indian clients, then you can't take any money out of that. They might even cut some money from your 80 hours. So in that case, I won't get into it. But this is the approach which can help you better, right? And again, Jani's points are very valid. You need more confidence, right? You need to be more like you get a great quiz when you say that, okay, how you're feeling. They got to answer back to you. Then understand their
Right.
answer, what they're saying, in which tone they are saying, right? And
Mhm.
a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I love to have like small talk with my clients. Like I want to know what my client's daughter is doing, or what if they had a son or a daughter or a kid, right? I want to know what their company is doing. I follow their social media. I like interact with their personal account, know that okay, they went to a trip, right?
Mhm.
It just make them feel like they are not just getting a product, like they paid something, they got back, right? It's more of a service thing.
Mhm.
And this comes from a very old for everyone who's there, right? How many of you know your barbers? Like how many of you go and sit and talk to them, right? But our
I do.
parents, for example, right? Our parents would know everyone around them in their shops, right? And you could just go, okay, hey, give me this, and you just get it back, and they wouldn't pay them then. You'll pay like later, kar denge, we'll find, right? The relationship, while it was transaction in a way, you were selling in that, but you were interacting with a human, right? So all these things also matter. And this is why, and how I'll tell you, I work with this client in 2021. Okay, I did a NFT landing page for them. Then I tried to do their rebrand. Did not work out with their co-founder. That project failed. I had to stop it in the bit. I paid back the advance. That's my own rule. If I don't press the project, I pay back. That client came back after 3 years for when they were launching a new product.
Mhm.
In that 3 years, they tried a multiple designers, and most of them were doing good work. The only thing which they were not doing were doing good was that they were not understanding the client better. And in a case where a founder is starting something new, they're confused, they are so much stressed with all those things. They don't want someone to do traditional, hey, give us feedback, we'll do your work. They
Mhm.
want someone to say, hey, bro, we get it. What is the goal you want to achieve? Let me advise you how to do that better. You know
Right.
what? I know that you are struggling in these colors. Here's 5 extra options which you can take on, right? They want that solution. They want more of a consulting thing instead of just a product thing. So all that matters here. That one, I think we can close the like spotlight and we can go into the
Okay.
workshop
Okay.
if someone else doesn't have anything else to ask.
Yeah. Sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Deep. Thank you, Janvi. Janvi, I think I should reply to you on Twitter. I saw your message. I gotta get back to you with that. Perfect. Thank you, Om. Cool. Let's go to the next slide then.
Yeah.
I think now I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm gonna go very fast on these other slides.
Okay.
Agency founder. This one is, I mean, it's clear, right? It's very simple. It's very normally, how does an agency make sense? We have freelancers, right? You're
Mhm.
making the hourly thing, you are making project based, and then you make value project. So it's agency is uh, a freelancer. But what changed? The biggest thing, right? The biggest thing which helped me a lot in the last 1 year is I don't want to go back to the numbers, but I think people listen to numbers. What makes me
Mhm.
go from 42 to 3 was I now had 12 people of team who are
Mhm.
at what like at best what they do. So the
Right.
quality I was providing, I think I went to it. Oh, yeah, here. The quality I was providing already, I think 100x. The communication, like I got a co-founder who's a business grad from some international college from Mumbai, amazing at communication, the best of the best, was a technical writer, researcher, right? When he does communication, he's gonna do it 100x better than mine, right? I still got the call, make a rapport, but he does the communication. He outlines the projects, top quality. The motion, I have a best motion guy. 3D, I don't have to do it myself or worry about anything. I get a best 3D person. It's a business, right? I'm getting assets which will give me returns. I'm providing that value to the customers, charging for that, and that's where project and value based thing comes in. Now, I also had some exercise in this, but we'll try to go through them very fast, right? And I think we have been in this for the last 2 hours. Most of you
Yeah.
might be getting bored of my voice. I
No, no,
think
no. It's
Navin,
good.
in the next one, I'll just put slide on the left and serving suffer on the right side, and that's the best way to keep attention. But yeah, here what I wanted to do, all you do was in this workshop was that write down how would you price this in your own work, right? And drop that number. If you have to do a full website redesign for this client, how much cost you will charge for them? Okay.
Right.
Do that. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I gotta go to the loo. I'll be back. You do this, and then I'll see you. And drop the Arju's number in the chat also.
For sure, for sure. Everyone, yeah, just please drop the numbers. I'm also doing it myself, so.
We ready?
Yeah, almost from my end. Everyone, if anyone is ready, I think they can just, come in with a discussion.
Yeah. So I'm assuming all of you did your monthly retainer, like the per hourly, like your goal, right? You know your number.
Yeah.
This is a full website design project. You know how many hours goes into this, how many days you're gonna take to work on this, right? Now try to match that with your target. Do you need to increase your cost of this website? Because let's say, example, if this website takes you a whole month to do, okay, everything you do every day, right?
Right.
And you have charged it, like for Nabrun, let's say, if your charge is more less than 10K, that means you're not getting your target, right?
Right. Right.
So based on that time, based on the cost you have in your mind, right, goal, right, you want to change the cost of this website. Now, obviously, a lot of people will say, what if the client is not ready to pay that much? What if that's not the industry standard and all that, right? But the fun part of design is there's no upper limit. I'm not sure how many of you heard about, I'm not even sure if that those are right numbers or not, but there's this guy called Client Joy, Brett Client Joy, who has actually made more than 2 million by doing subscription-based agency in a year. Right?
Okay.
Even if those numbers are fake, hopefully it's they are correct, because he's been talking about them a lot on the Twitter. But people are paying Design Joy. Yeah.
Okay. Understood.
So there are customers. It's just that your quality is game changes, right? You gotta just change the customer who are targeting, the people who are targeting, where you're targeting, right? All that you need to change. Again, think like a business. You know your target. You at least have one thing fixed now, which is I gotta make this much money in the end of the year. Now the only thing you gotta figure out is how much work can I do, how much time is gonna take of mine, and at that price, how much like I gotta do. So in this case, an agency founder, for me, it keeps changing because I can always hire more people,
Yes.
Get more hours into the projects and get it done. But for a freelancer, there are fixed costs, right? And I'm assuming most of you are freelancers, so that is there. Even in agency, you can think of the cost as gonna take them, how much is gonna take your, let's say, expense and cost, right? You can do that. I would never do that. Never give them options. You are the king of this shit. You own this agency. You are the best at this. Someone says we want options. Fuck you. No, this is what I do. This is how much I charge. You want to pay it? Fine. No, I'll find someone else. Again, right? I will never. I will not do that. Very honestly. And again, I get this arrogance after 10 years, and I've learned this from like a lot of industry people. So definitely keep that in check. Keep that very much in check, right? But get your quality up, right? Like you gotta also have a quality where people like understand that, right? So get your quality up at that stage, right? And then don't give options. Starting, yeah, you can give options, but again, it's gonna undermine you because now they know that you're open to options. They'll try to even get more options on pricing, and then ask, you know what, give me the best package in the standard rate. And the thing is, if you are desperate for work, you might also say yes to that.
True.
Right? So again, when it comes to desperation, everything is fine, but like hopefully in the normal time, you should not do that. Give them one single option. Hey, here's how much we charge. Here's how much the work I do. And the next topic actually is going to help you with that. So I think we'll just move in from this, right?
Yeah.
And this is where personal brand comes. Now, this exact word, we're going to personal brand. But the thing is, you need to have a certain authority or a leverage, right? And also a risk take. For example, in my freelancing, when I made that whole year, there were a couple of months where I didn't have any work.
Okay.
Because I was charging a certain amount, and the clients which I was getting was not paying the certain amount, and I was not ready to work under that.
Okay.
But I covered that in the next couple of months, right? Like that's how a business works. If you have a shop, if you're going through bad, you don't know if it will get better, but you just pray for it to get better. You work around that part of it, right?
Right. But you always sticking to your price then, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I definitely do. Very much as I know that the effort. So it's a problem after you have some experience or some time into the industry that you have a certain process of doing things, right, to get the best result. And when you have those, you can't compromise on them. So let's say if Om said, I'm giving you a basic, I can't skip a step because the work which is going to go out is also going to go on my name. So if I do bad work because I took less money, it's going to reflect bad on me. If people are going to say, yeah, Rahul did shit work. They don't know they pay. I got, like, the client paid this much, right? Client's going to say, I paid this much and they paid me, like, gave me this work. They'll say Rahul did bad work, right? So I'll rather not do work than doing bad work, right? Because it's more like the exam thing. It's better to not attempt like questions than negative marketing, because like negative marketing is your goodwill up. And I think human life, nothing is more important than goodwills, right? Like we all work with goodwill and trust. So if someone feels like, yeah, this Rahul is not trustworthy anymore, doesn't matter if I do the best work, nobody will work with me. Right?
True.
Like if
I think this is where the rapport part comes in, which you were explaining.
Yeah, right. So like again, this is where also, like, if for example, right, if they're like, yeah, we want the best part, but we can only pay for the basic one. That's where you ask for equity, ESOPs, tokens, or you say, you know what, this is also again from Christo, and I love this. I've actually used this a lot of time, and it most of the time worked. Which is that you say, you know what, you pay me the basic amount, but then you make this website and you make this much profit in your quarter next 6 months. You pay me after 6 months, but you don't pay me the amount which is pending. You pay me the double of that amount. And if the founder trusts their own company, they will say, yeah, okay, because they are making money, so they'll be okay with that, right? So you handle those things, if it comes to that, you handle it in this way. But again, you need a certain arrogance. I have to be like very honest with you. You need that, because the reality is, when it comes to design, while we want to run this like a business, a lot of people see it like an art and give us that benefit. You can be arrogant. You can say, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. And this, by the way, is with Europe and American designers. You'll notice this is there. They'll not cave in with every request which comes to clients. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this on my sense, and I know what I'm doing. I've studied for this. I've worked on this. I know my shit on this side of things. Trust me on that, right? So you also got to have that. I mean, you can call it arrogance, you can call it overconfidence, confidence, whatever you call it, but you need that certainty. Cool. So everyone who's not working, please work on your personal brand. It could be just writing threads on Twitter. It could be posting like stories on Instagram. For example, Deep, right? Deep could have reached out, hey, Rahul, I want to work with you. I might not have replied to him, very honestly. I get hundreds of DMs in that way, right? But because Deep posted few work on his Instagram and Twitter, which I just loved. And I don't know if Deep did work in the industry for the last 10 years or 6 months. I like that work. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use his skills to get some of the best work for my client. Let's talk. So that also adds into your priority. Now, Deep can ask me for any price he wants. But Deep, don't do that, okay? But he can do that. He can just go, get Rahul, I'm going to work for this because I want him, right? I've seen his work. I know that he does good shit. So if I want to do a poster, he can ask me whatever money I want. I can negotiate, obviously, but he can ask for a deal number, right? So always make that. Then you doesn't have to be content creator. Doesn't have to create tons of YouTube videos. Doesn't have to create day one of my UX journey. Don't do simple things. It's also fine,
Right.
but just make your brand there. People should know you,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I think there's some. I think I already told about its expertise, strategies, communication. You already talked about a lot in the whole workshop, right? I can go for another couple of hours, but I don't want to bore you that much. But yeah, that's it. Now this is a very interesting one. This is not about designers only, but as a designer, you have the opportunity of this. Okay, and this comes from my journey into blockchain. So there's this curve that whenever a new tech or something new happens, the adaptation of that tech or that thing happens in this curve. Someone innovates. There are people who are early adopters. Then early majority comes, then late majority, and then the last people who don't want to change, like hate to change, comes in, right? Now, as a designer, because we are designing for these people all together, we always can be in between the innovators and early adopters. And we can be here, right? If you're open to learning, if you're open to experiment, if you want to take risk, right? Because who else get a chance to, if for example VR, right? VR headsets been here for years, right? Recently Meta launched theirs and all that, right? Amazing shit. Like Apple launched there, and with that special artificial, something like that they call it. They could not call it VR. I don't know why, but that just became a mainstream thing, right? People are buying it, right? Now, how do I design for that? It's it's innovated a long time back. They were early adopters. Now early majority is getting in, right? So if you were there while the Facebook or the all those were launched, right? At that time, if you're designing for VR apps, so VR apps still has not launched. Like OS based on VR is still new, right? Apple has done it.
Yeah.
There's like Windows based, but it's not that amazing, right? Apple obviously innovating that, so they have innovated that. If you start now making product examples, screenshots of what will happen in VR products, right? Do that for a year. After a year, again a risk. If everyone has a VR headset at home, someone who's looking for a designer who can design this, you'll be the first person to be there. And then you can ask for any money you want. You can say a number and they'll pay you because you are ahead of the curve. Other designers who will be picking it up and going in that, you will know this beforehand. Same thing is happening with AI. That's the reason why I'm sitting right now in nights and working with Cursor, creating an app with AI, understanding how code works. Not because I'm going to make my own products, might not, but I want to understand how that work with other people. Because I know tomorrow a founders were going to come who would have built their products with AI and help of that, with developers like that. As a designer who would know those tech, I would be able to help them better. And I'll be able to get paid for that. So every technology, like you see anything new, I mean, I don't know why you became a designer if you're not curious. If you're not curious about your technology, it doesn't make sense to be a designer. Like that's the
fair.
I think there are only two people, actors and designers, who gets to live different lives every day. So get to do that with characters and personality, right? This one, bro. I don't know. Rahul needed something, but we'll go which one you're talking about. And designers get to do that with businesses. Like I know how clothing website works, how manufacturing works, because I designed their website, I designed their brochures. Do you guys know that the sorting which happens of your trash in Ahmedabad, it happens by hand. Like 4 years back, it used to. Then I work with a company who designed a machine which can do it obviously by machine, right? And I got to learn so much about trash separation and all that. And I was like, bro, I gotta keep 3 dustbins in my hand and divide all that, right? With else business, will you get to chance to do that every month? Right? Like I'm working on something called DeFi, where I'm learning about how actual stock market work. Because I'm designing a product for them. I'm learning how like in real life movies are made. Because I'm designing a brand identity for them, I'm understanding how the process of that is, right? Right? So where else you get options? So always be early adopters. Rahul, which slide? I don't know if you're talking about, but I'm just gonna go last 2 slides. This one and this one is there for the personal brand. I don't know which one you're talking about, but yeah. So I think this is it. We are mostly done with the workshop, and I think people say make money work for you while you sleep, right? Make design work for you. Right? So in this case, obviously post your work, share your work, let it do the marketing for you. You don't need to like go and say I do this work and show it to them, right? Share your work, talk to people, reach out. Obviously you can also make templates, assets and all that while doing this, right? Make website, work on that, right? Show your skills instead of you going to show your skills. Let your skills be there. You won't believe I got a random client on my website because they like my website. That's all. They don't know what I do. They don't know the agency, like which industry I am in. They're like, I don't work with you because we like the website you've designed for yourself. That's like how amazing that is, right? So make the design work for you. I think this I'll print and put on my back in my wall. But yeah, yeah. So I think I'll close with this to everyone who's paid for exposure, every client who's paying in exposure. For exposure, pay us in money, right? We had done hard work to get the skill, so pay us in that.
Yeah, fair.
And yeah, I think that's it. That's it, and I'm gonna close this workshop at this slide.
Thank you so much for this. It was wonderful. It was insightful. I think we got to understand a lot of things from this. And guys, I think we can take the questions now if you have any. So
yeah. So Khush had a question. Khush, if you would like to come on.
Yeah,
sure. On your mind.
What is together mode? It's really interesting. Sorry, yeah, we can go back. Like, let's go to questions and we can do that.
Khush, can you just raise your hand? Like,
yeah.
So I'm gonna take a screen photo of this together mode. It's really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
Yeah, we're going back. Yeah,
Khush, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, Khush, you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Rahul.
Hey bro, what's happening?
Yeah, all good. Amazing session.
Thank you.
I had a question. In the session, you raised a point mentioning Design Joy. So I also have been following him on Twitter a lot, and I've also seen the trend of the design as a service, the business model, you can say. A lot of people have started doing it since he has promoted it.
Right.
He has mentioned a lot of times that he runs his agency as a solo designer. So, do you think that it is possible to handle 20 clients at that level, being a solo designer?
If I think it would be tough. And it will have a higher churn rate because people will drop out. Like people need certain attention to their work. I feel that, but the world is very different. Like there are different people who are doing crazy things. So do I think it is possible? It might be possible, right? I have not been able to do it. I won't do it well myself, right? It will be tough for me to do that while living a life, and I think having a baby also, something like that. And I don't know if he or no someone else had that different agency, but like being family and all that is a bit tough, at least for me. So I think it's not possible. But I think when he shares 20 clients, I'm assuming it's more of like total clients not working. Like, so you have someone in pipeline, basics, and hopefully he's using like, so because he does very specific task in 48 hours, right? So every client in 48 hours. So I'm like, if you 20 clients, 48 hours, let's say 24 hours, you work on that, 36 hours you work, and then other, I think, yeah, you'd sleep for 16. Yeah. So 32 hours something you have, right? Let's say 32 hours, 20 clients. Divide by that. I think generally you gotta give at least it's gonna be tough. At least 1 hour like 1.5 hours to a client, then only you're able to do all their like requests submit in 28 hours, right? Now, numbers wise, it's tough. Like, how can you design for a client in 1.5 hours, right? So numbers don't match, but I think that's a different all topic altogether, which has been going on Twitter. So we'll keep it to there only.
Okay, okay. So an agency model suits more for basically 3 or 4 designers, not for
A single,
solo designer.
yeah, the single one has a ceiling, bro. The simple as that. Agency scaling is problematic. You have a ceiling. If you're someone who's doing it alone, uh, it's always going to be a problem. You're going to have certain work hours. You're going to have certain creative blocks. You're going to have certain my mood swings, right? So it's not all going to be on top game, right? So doing like 20 clients with 48 hours, even if I do that, that means 2 hours a client, 2.5 hours next. It's not possible to do that, right? So that's not scalable. But I think in its case, it's more about increasing its prices and getting clients and then them dropping, because I don't think any client will stay there for 6 months. It's not possible to do that.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kush. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Kush. Thank you. Let me go to
Thank
Q&A.
you.
I have not been able to go there. I'll just check. Okay, so Kush, I think Kush Khan's question
Yeah, I think the last question
answered.
was from Kush. Guys, anyone having any other questions?
I think we answered all the questions. Nice.
I think Ankit had a small question wherein he was asking if you own any NFT tokens. So do you own any?
Yeah, I would obviously. I've been here for the last 4 years. Can't be here
True.
if I don't get into the game.
True.
But I
Very
don't
true.
endorse it. I won't like suggest you to do that. You could if you want to, but I won't like. I'm not saying you to do that. Okay, so never.
But if you do
This
that
is
with like prior research, then it's worthy of doing it, right?
yeah. Very honestly, if you're like there's something we call in crypto, not advice. Never take someone's advice.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, guys, I think we can definitely, take the questions right now. Or else, I'm pretty sure whenever Rahul has time, you can just drop the questions to him on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and he'll surely find some time to answer those. But I just wanted to invite everyone quickly for a picture. Okay, Vishal has a question, I think. Just a second. Then we'll take a picture, everyone. Okay, just a second. I'll spotlight you. Cool. Vishal, yeah, you can ask your question.
Hello, Rahul again.
Hey, Vishal, what's happening?
So my next question will be like, if someone is working under me or better like an associate, so how can I gain confidence on him or her, like he will deliver the same quality of design as me?
They
Like,
will not.
yeah, but
They will not.
but in a like situation where I need to deliver 2 or 3 products at the same time, I need to get him or her work, right? So
There's 2 ways of doing this. This is how I do it, right? So I mostly train my people when they are very new, right? So mostly we try to get internships and then try to retain them, right? Or either get people who are very new and are moldable, right? Because in that case, I can teach them other top quality or something like that. I can help them with that, right? But a lot of times when we have people who are not in that, they are good with that. What we do is we try to make it the less risk it is. So in this case, it is how far they can come to your quality.
all right.
If you ever go out and try to find your quality, you will never get it. That's a human thing. Like if we ever try to find someone who does work like us, we'll never be able to find it.
Yeah.
You take any big, amazing painters, artists, agency founders, they have never been able to find their replacement. The simple reason is that because we are creatives, right? A lot of our experiences, like a lot of our skills come from our experiences.
Yep.
If I go and find someone who's good at designing pitch deck, that person might need to do more than 200 plus pitch decks in past, might have been to be an accountant also, someone who studied BCom, or someone who just likes to consume more infographics. Now find that in one person is going to be tough. It's very experience based, right? So the way you do is you start structuring it like processes that okay, they can get to the nearest of your quality. And
Okay.
if you are someone who's like me, you'll always jump in, take another hour, and then make changes to it.
All
It's
right.
always it's all about finding the nearest, so your time gets less. You don't have to work 8 hours, and so you just work 1 hour to clean that up instead of you
Yeah.
doing the whole 8-hour work. Make sense?
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Rahul.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you, Vishal.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal. All right, guys. So if anyone has any more questions, they can jump in, or else I will just request everyone to just open your cameras. We'll take a quick picture with Rahul and everyone. So yeah, guys, could you just open your cameras? We'll take a quick picture. Second, I'll stop the highlight. Cool. Let's see everyone. It's been a while.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Really enjoy this. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll just take a quick picture. Hayden, could you take a picture, please? Let's take a screenshot for mine. Evan, you can just
Rahul,
post,
after the
please
picture,
post.
so Utsav has a question, so if you can just take it after the picture.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Perfect.
All right. So yes, so I'll just allow the mic for you. You can ask your question. Second. Yes, what's up?
Yeah, so I think we have met before, yeah? Were you in no, different Utsav, sorry. Yeah. Tell me Utsav. And mute.
My question was how can a designer overcome the imposter syndrome and build the confidence to charge higher rates?
You charge higher rates.
No.
No, you charge
Please
higher
answer.
rates. Yeah, you can, okay, I'll charge this much for this. Now,
But
that's one way of doing it. But see, the way of going in this way is you got to break down your processes, right? So, for example, if you don't know how you end up with a landing page which is good for clients, right? When you start, you're always like, yeah, will I be able to do that? Right. So you won't never get that confidence, right? I get a confidence to customers saying, hey, I'll be able to deliver the best product you will see. Because there are processes I have devised for myself. Like that, okay, I gotta do the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And based on this, I reach at this level. So instead of being it a process where it's very vague, I have structured into processes, right? Now to keep that creativeness alive, the steps are a little bit open-ended, that it can go anywhere. And the clients are also aware of it. Right? So for example, I tell my clients, hey, while I am executing this whole thing, but you are the one designing it. I'm just bringing your mind onto the paper. So what's on your mind, right? So whatever the feedback you give me, I'll be able to only get that out. I can't get anything randomly out, right? I need to have some inspiration, which in this case is your mind. So when I'm designing a logo, I'll send them like there's a process for let me see if I can share my Figma file process. But also like just reach out to me later. I'll just walk you through the whole process of mine. But in short, it is this only. You break down your processes. The more process you have, the clear you will know the result, right? So think of like this, right? Which company do you work in? Is it an IT company?
No, it's a design studio.
Design studio, right? How does your manager knows that Utsav will be able to do this much of work? Yeah, this much of quality of work, right? Because they have design processes. They'll ask you, for example, if you're doing a website, right? The steps goes something like for me like this. You find a mood board, right? You take based on the brand identity, you take feedback from client. Then you make an IA, which is again a structure. You take feedback from client, test it out that IA with A/B testing, see which one works, right? Then you do a wireframing of it, where you have structure of okay, do you want it to be like big, small, and all that structure thing you do, right? Till now, here with you in the process, they are saying yes or no. You are there telling them, right? Then you start designing it. Now the client says, okay, this is not something which I know. You're like, you're with me here only. With wireframe, you were there, right? So this is based on that only. Let's go more detail. What did you like? Then you break down hero section about you go into that sections like what is good, what is bad. That way you are not in dark of knowing what is going to be next, right? You know what you are building. This will give you slowly confidence, and then obviously you'll be able to charge higher. Again, my suggestion would be just ask for a higher number, right? And you have so many amazing mentors here. Like I think last week, when did Arpita came?
Arpita came last week.
Last week, right? She does this, like she's a designer at this company called ADP List, where you can reach out to any designer you want to. They're available. I think I'm also there, but you can just reach out to me on Twitter. It's easier. But there's someone called Arpit who is amazing at pricing. Like whenever I need to understand about selling and all that, I go to that person. He's a friend now, but I could have just go to ADP, right? So also talk to more people. I think you should talk to more people. Though that also adds a lot of confidence because you gotta do that. And do mock presentations or mock projects with people you know, right? Give them high number. So let's say you give them, like Deep is your client, you give Deep a high number. Keep another designer with you, just to be safe. Someone who's keeping an eye. They're not working on it, just keeping an eye on you, just helping out in the process. Everybody get low confidence. There's someone there. You do the whole work. You pitch to client. Mostly you will succeed. You will never have any issues.
Right. Perfect.
Thank
you
you
for the
sir.
question, sir. Thank you.
I'm surprised 35 people stayed till 2 hours. Amazing though.
Now we have a dedicated community. I don't think people will drop off. And it was like a session wherein we understood that we still have time to experiment. So, people are going to be experimenting a lot of things, and you're going to get a lot of DMs for sure asking for your advice. So
perfect.
Yeah.
I'll clean up my inbox.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, do definitely just look at his portfolio. It's amazing. Okay, just look at Dacoit.design as well. And just visit Sandskriti as well. So just go to sandskriti.com and you'll be able to find everything regarding the designathon and our
When
passport.
is
Yeah.
I don't know if I can ask this or not, but when is the podcast coming?
What is going to be released soon? So yeah,
Yeah.
stay tuned for that as well. I mean, we have podcasts with them. So
Just
stay
drop
tuned
it
for
in
that
the
as
there,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, everyone, thank you for
And also
joining in.
subscribe to 𝘁𝗍𝗃 channel, The Future it's called. Go to
Yeah,
that channel,
The
check this
Future.
out. The gold mine is it is.
True. So yeah, everyone, thank you for joining in once again. And we'll keep doing things with Rahul and all the other mentors. So we'll have continued sessions with the workshops from after Diwali. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. And cool. I think it was a wonderful session. Thank you guys.
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. Cool. We'll see you.